Nobody taught you the money formula. Nobody handed it to you in a class, a sermon, or a conversation over dinner. But there is a very good chance you are already living it, partially, unconsciously, in the gaps between what you earn and what you spend, in the way you hesitate before a big purchase, in the quiet relief you feel when a bill is paid. Something in you already knows. The question is whether you know that you know. There is a pattern that runs through every culture, every generation, every income bracket. It shows up in the way farmers in ancient Mesopotamia stored grain. It shows up in the way your grandmother kept a coffee can in the back of a pantry. It shows up in the way the wealthiest investors in the world describe their strategy, which is almost always simpler than anyone expects. The pattern is not a secret. It has never been a secret, but it travels disguised, dressed in ordinary habits, passed down without labels, inherited without explanation. And the reason it survives is because it is true, not theoretically true, practically, repeatedly, generationally true. Here is the first piece of it. You already know that more money does not automatically mean more peace. You may not say it out loud. You may chase income anyway because the bills are real and the pressure is real. But somewhere you have felt it. The raise that didn't change anything. The purchase that felt good for 2 weeks and then just became background noise. The person you know who earns 3 times what you do and is visibly more anxious about money than you are. That feeling is not weakness. It is data. The richest man in recorded history wrote it down 3,000 years ago and called it vapor. Not because wealth is evil, because wealth alone is not the destination. You already half believe this. The formula only works when you fully believe it. Here is what changes when you do. You stop optimizing for the number and start optimizing for the life. Those are not the same instruction. One sends you onto an endless treadmill, always one raise away from arrival. The other asks a completely different question. What do I actually need in order to live well right now, today, with what is in front of me? That question reorganizes everything. Your spending, your saving, your risk tolerance, your relationship with your own salary. The formula is not primarily about accumulation. It is about clarity. And clarity is something most financial advice actively avoids, because clarity tends to make you want less, and wanting less is terrible for the economy and very good for your soul. Now here is the piece most people carry without knowing they carry it. Spread your risk. Do not put everything on one outcome. You know this. You feel it when something in you resists going all in on a single investment, a single income stream, a single plan. That resistance has a name in modern finance. It won the Nobel Prize in 1990. But long before Harry Markowitz wrote it into an academic paper, long before portfolio theory had a name, ordinary people were practicing it instinctively. The farmer who planted 2 fields in case one flooded, the merchant who loaded goods onto 3 ships in case one sank. Your neighbor who kept a second job not out of greed, but out of a deep and reasonable distrust of certainty. They were all running the same equation. Spread your bread upon the waters. Give a portion to 7 and also to 8, because you do not know what disaster may come. That is not pessimism. That is the most sophisticated financial instruction ever compressed into a single sentence. The disaster always comes eventually, not always catastrophic. Sometimes just a layoff, a medical bill, a market correction, a season when the income dries up. The people who survive it with the least damage are never the ones who saw it coming. Nobody sees it coming. They are the ones who arranged their lives for uncertainty instead of certainty. They are the ones who quietly, often without knowing the formal term for it, diversified. You may already be doing this. You may be doing it clumsily, intuitively, without a plan. That instinct is worth listening to. It is older than every financial advisor who has ever told you otherwise. Now for the piece that cuts hardest. The one that prosperity culture has spent decades training you to ignore. 1 handful with peace is better than 2 handfuls with exhaustion. Read that again and notice your resistance to it. Notice the part of you that wants to argue, that says 2 handfuls is always better, that rest is something you earn after you have built enough, that there will be time to slow down later. That voice is not wisdom. That voice is the most expensive lie in modern culture. It has cost people their health, their marriages, their children's childhood, their own capacity for joy, and in the end, it has cost them the very thing they were working toward, which was a life that felt worth living. Solomon was not a poet warning about burnout from a comfortable distance. He built the most ambitious construction project in ancient history. He managed trade routes across 3 continents. He worked harder and achieved more than almost any human before him. And at the end of it, he described his labor as grief and pain, his nights as sleepless, his striving as chasing after the wind. He is not telling you not to work. He is telling you that work without rest is not a virtue. It is a slow destruction. The Sabbath was not designed as a reward for productivity. It was designed as a declaration that your worth is not measured by your output. That is a financial statement as much as a spiritual one. And if you have never heard it framed that way before, that is exactly the problem. Here is where the formula becomes personal. It only works if you actually enjoy what you have while you have it. Not after you double it. Not once you hit the number. Now. This is the part that sounds soft until you understand the mechanism behind it. Gratitude is not a feeling. It is a financial discipline. The person who can sit down to a simple dinner and feel genuinely satisfied is protected from an entire category of financial mistakes that the chronically discontented person will keep making forever. Impulse purchases, status spending, the relentless upgrading of things that were already fine. Contentment is not complacency. Contentment is resistance to manipulation. In a culture that profits enormously from your sense of lack, the ability to feel like enough is one of the most countercultural and economically rational choices you can make. And the last piece, the one nobody is selling. Every financial decision you make will eventually be judged, not by the market, not by your accountant, not by your social media following, by something more permanent than any of those. The wages you paid or didn't pay, the generosity you expressed or withheld, the corners you cut when you thought no one was watching, the money you hoarded while someone nearby was drowning. That is not a metaphor. That is a framework. And when you accept it, something very strange happens. You stop performing for the audience that was never going to satisfy you anyway. You stop comparing. You stop optimizing for approval. You do what is right in each transaction, each decimal, each decision, and you leave the results to the one who sees all of it. You were already carrying this, pieces of it, scattered across your habits and your instincts and the things you half believe when you are quiet enough to hear yourself think. The formula was never hidden. It was never locked inside a course, a mastermind, or a 12-step wealth code. It was written down thousands of years ago by a man who had already tried everything else. He tried accumulation. He tried achievement. He tried pleasure and power and prestige. And when he had exhausted every option, he sat down and wrote the truth. Not the truth you want to hear, the truth that actually works. The formula was never hidden. It was just waiting for you to recognize it as yours.